Insurance, this is Tony Cañas, Chief Motivational Officer at Insurance Nerds and PNC Client Advisor at the Jacobson Group. I am recording today from my home base in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm recording on a Saturday in early November 2019, so this might not go live. This won't go live for a few days. I'm not sure when it'll go live, but I'm trying to record ahead. Leaders are readers, almost without exception. In fact, without exception, leaders are readers. And here at Insurance Nerds, we are obsessive readers, truly obsessive readers. The first 12 books you should read during your first year as an insurance professional. So basically your rookie reading list to give you an amazing head start in your insurance career. Number one book you should read when you start your insurance career is Getting Things Done. The first thing that you have to figure out, regardless of what your job is, once you show up, the first thing that you have to figure out is quite simply how to be effective getting results. And this book will teach you exactly how to do that. Simply read it. It's a pretty easy read. It's a classic, and start applying its teachings right away. Bonus points if you end up getting a whiteboard for your desk and make it into an Eisenhower matrix. So basically the book will teach you how to prioritize and how to get things done. Very, very important, regardless of what your job is within the industry. Number two book is The Happiness Advantage. And this one I'm not gonna spend much time on because I did a video on it just a few days ago. I will link it in the show notes. But number two, first month, read David Allen's Getting Things Done. Second month, read The Happiness Advantage. Number three, okay, so at this point, you've got a basic idea on how to be productive in your job. And number two, you've got an understanding of why happiness is important, and most importantly, how it leads to success, and most importantly, how to become happier if you're not a naturally happy, peppy person like myself. So very important read. Number three is Against the Odds. Now that you have some solid early career skills, the next step is quickly building insurance industry domain expertise, insurance industry knowledge. And pretty much every insurance executive I've asked, or almost every insurance executive I've asked about books to read, has recommended Against the Odds. Against the Odds has made many people fall in love with their industry. And I'll be honest, it's not a super easy read. It might take you a while to get through it. You might want to read it along at the same time as you read something a little easier to read. Once you get through it, you'll understand, you'll learn a lot about insurance and insurance's history. And you'll start to see why insurance is a fascinating industry. And that's step one to falling in love with it and being successful in it. Really understanding this book will make it much easier to come across as a significantly more experienced and significantly more mature insurance pro whenever you have the chance to chat with people who have been in the industry for decades. So when you get the chance to get in front of an executive at your company or just in the industry, this book will help you come across like a rock star. Now, I'm not saying you should pretend you know more than you know, but showing an interest, they'll be impressed just by the fact that you're reading it. And showing an interest in the industry and having a historical understanding of the industry is going to be impressive. Number four, on your fourth month in the industry, I want you to read Grit. Grit basically means perseverance. The name of the book is Grit. And basically at this point, you're probably a little burnt out from reading this list. And that's why it is time to read Grit. When my sister, who has always been an A student, failed a semester of med school, I gave her a copy of this book. This is how strong. This is the book that I give my family when they're going through a hard time. We're very close friends when they're going through a hard time. For a long time, I even wore a Got Grit bracelet that a friend at CPCU gave me to remind myself of the important lessons of this book. Basically, Angela Duckworth is the world leading expert on grit or perseverance. This book is the result of her decades of research into grit. Quite simply, the biggest predictor of success is very simple. Never give up. If you never give up, you will eventually be successful. It's that simple. And this book will help you realize that and will give you tools to increase your grit and your perseverance, basically. Number five. This one, in my opinion, is an incredibly underappreciated book because it really is fantastic, and I need to get back and reread it. I want you to read for your fifth month in the industry, Flirting with the Uninterested, because now you have a solid system on how to be productive and effective, and you understand the importance of happiness and how to be happier, and you have a solid historical understanding of where insurance came from and why it's important, and you've learned the why and the how of undying perseverance or grit, now it's time to dig a little deeper into insurance. This one teaches you how the customers think, or in reality, don't think about insurance, and how to get better around that. This is an important read. Whether you're on the sales or the carrier side, it'll help you see why insurance is such a complicated industry to serve, such a complicated product or service to sell. It's a really fantastic read that you will be so far ahead of any of your peers after reading this book. Number 6, never eat alone. In the 21st century career environment that you'll be working in, having a solid network really couldn't be more important. Your network is your net worth. It takes time to get there, but eventually your network is your net worth. And I'll have a whole video about that idea. But building such a network is not something that comes natural to most people. And this book will teach you step by step how to build a strong professional network. Alternatively, you can read the classic How to Make Friends and Influence People, but that one's much shorter. How to make friends and influence people. But How to Make Friends and Influence People is really old-fashioned. It was written in the 1920s, and it's really old-fashioned. It's easy to misunderstand it and misapply it, and end up introducing yourself with somebody, and once you hear their name, going like, "Hey Tony, how's it going, Tony? Very nice to meet you, Tony. Did I mention that my dad's name is Tony also? It's so nice to meet you, Tony." And looking like a fool, basically. In fact, Taryn, who runs our blog, likes to refer to this book as How to Become a Sociopath for Dummies. So never eat alone is better. I'm not saying that I do everything that Never Eat Alone encourages me to do. What I'm saying is the things that I do help a lot, and I should do more. I should read this book every year. Number 7, in your 7th month in the insurance industry, you should read a book called The 80-20 Rule. So basically, you've now been at your insurance job for 6 months, and you're producing solid results. You're building a great network, and you have a deeper understanding of insurance than people who have been in the industry for 5 years and having put in the work the way that you have. Good job following insurance nerds. This is the time to realize that 80% of your results in any job come from 20% of your efforts, and start focusing on the things that really create results. Hint, it's generally not the nitpicky things that your boss might be badgering you about. Anyway, do not read this book before putting in a good 6 months, maybe even a good year of solid performance, because you could easily get yourself in trouble. Once you have a good idea of the what of the job, and once you're getting some early success, reading this book will help you perfect that and help you get to the top of the charts. Alternatively, you could read The 4-Hour Workweek, which is an easier read, but you're far better off reading the source of the ideas. And the best ideas in the 4-Hour Workweek come from this book, and he quotes it as such. Some warning, again, same story, 4-Hour Workweek, do not read it until you've been at the job for about 6 months. Number 8, in your 8th month in insurance, you should read Deep Work. You think you're a great multitasker. Everybody did. The job description when you apply for the job might even have called for the ability to multitask in the job description. Sadly, the reality is that humans can't multitask. Our brains are not designed for it. There's some research that women are better at it than men, but still humans can't multitask, and you are human. It's not just that we're bad at multitasking. Our brains are quite literally unable to focus on 2 things at once. You cannot multitask. What our brains do is we switch back and forth between 2 unrelated tasks and do badly at both unrelated tasks. This book will teach you exactly why multitasking is a bad idea, and how to focus on the way to achieve great things. And best of all, it teaches you how to break your addiction to attempting to multitask. Believe me, I love multitasking, but it is just not effective. If you get good at deep work, you will be a monster success in our industry. 80-20 and deep work combined, and you will be a monster success anything you do in this industry. Number 9, influence. Chances are it'll be a few years before you grow to a job where you have a job title that carries enough weight, where you have role power, and a job title that allows you to easily influence change in your company and maybe even in the industry. And You can't wait that long. We can't wait that long. We need you to be a leader soon. I want you to read this book, Influence. Robert Cialdini has spent decades researching how to influence people and organizations. And even if you don't have a position of authority, read it, highlight it, take notes. This is the book. This is one of the books that you'll want to reread every few years. I'm about to jump back into mine and reread it, and I'll make a big video about this book specifically. Number 10, and this one depends on whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. We'll have another video on how to figure out whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Introverts, I want you to read the book Quiet by Susan Cain. It'll help you come out of your shell. And extroverts, I want you to read the book Brag, How to Toot Your Horn Without Blowing It. Thanks, Deb, for recommending this book to me at Toastmasters in 2010. For this 10th month, if you're an introvert, read Quiet by Susan Cain. Unfortunately, the business world is designed for extroverts, and you're at a disadvantage unless you learn strategies to take advantage of your amazing strengths as an introvert. And those strategies will help you be highly successful in ways that are comfortable to you without going crazy in the attempt. If you're an introvert trying to behave like Tony, it's probably not gonna work, and it's gonna make you very unhappy, okay? So Quiet can teach you how to be successful as an introvert. If you're an extrovert, How to Toot Your Own Horn Without Blowing It will help you moderate yourself a little. And believe me, this is toned down Tony, can you believe that? And it'll also keep you from putting your foot in your mouth more than when it's absolutely necessary, without completely giving up some of the self-promotion that is kind of necessary in today's business world. It'll help you do it in an effective way. This book probably saved my career. This book and some solid feedback that I got during the nationwide FLRP probably saved my career. Number 11, the 11th month of your insurance career, what I want you to read is StrengthsFinders 2.0 or whatever. They update this book every few years. I even debated whether this book should be first on the list, but then I decided that it makes sense to get a good 10 or 11 months under your belt at your current job before you realize that there's a fair chance that you are in the wrong job for you, especially if this is your first job, your first couple of jobs. So if you figured out in month 4 that you are in the wrong job and your company doesn't allow you to apply for a better job until you've been there for 12 months to a better matching job where you can use your strengths, you would be tempted to leave the industry and find a better fit. So this is why I waited until the 10th month to read this one, because I would recommend that you read this one, because it would be a big loss to the industry if we lost you. I don't want that to happen. My goal is to keep you here and help you grow. Reading this book after 11 months in the job is kind of the perfect amount of time, since by the time you finish it, you will realize which jobs you should be applying for, and you'll be at month 12, which means that you'll be allowed to apply internally for better jobs. Win-win! Basically, what it comes down to, and I'll do a bigger video on this book, of course, but the Gallup organization has spent many years researching productivity and employee engagement, and they have found that, quite simply, we do talent management wrong, and this goes for the entirety of corporate America. We tend to focus on fixing people's weaknesses. We tend to put people where we need them right now instead of where they would be most effective and where their strengths would be playing the best. And the research has found that you're much better off understanding your natural tendencies than finding a role that takes advantage of those tendencies, and you'll grow those into true strengths. You'll be much more successful doing that, and much happier too, with less effort than you would trying to fit your square peg in a round hole, or your round peg in a square hole. This easy read includes access to an online quiz which identifies your top strengths and teaches you a ton about the types of roles that you're likely to be successful in and engaged in. Don't buy this one used, because you'll need the code in the back. Also, people that participate in a class or get a coach have like 3 or 6 times more success using this book. So I recommend doing that. Number 12, and congratulations, you've stuck to it. You've read 11 great books that will help you turbocharge your career. So for month 12, we are letting you off the hook with a short and fun read, Who Moved My Cheese? This cute little fable teaches you the importance of becoming a change agent rather than a change resistor. And given the speed of change in the business world today, and the accelerating speed of change in the business world today, the fact that it's likely to continue accelerating, learning to deal with change in a positive way is a key skill in career survival. There you go. You have your marching orders. Young man, young woman, young lady, young professional. You, young insurance professional, you have your marching orders. Go read these 12 books in the first year of your insurance career in this order and follow their advice. Reach out if you have questions. We will help you get through this. You can do this. I know you can. You'll have an amazing insurance career with a much faster start than most other people in our industry. TC, out.